Everyone, yesterday evening, the OPP said if you remove the blockade by midnight, you will not face charges. We will just scrub the whole thing like it didn't happen. You guys can go. This morning, Global News is reporting OPP move in on protesters at Wet'suwet'en rail blockades in eastern Ontario. Wasn't it less than a week ago that Justin Trudeau says we don't want to be a country where the police are ordered in? Oh well. You can only do so much, I suppose. And I mean, fundamentally, if the people who are protesting aren't protesting for a meeting with the government or protesting to get changes from the government, but actually are just protesting to shut down the production in a country, well, I mean, Yahtzee, right? This is a win for them. And they celebrate it like a win. We'll see that in a minute. Here's CTV News Atlantic talking about bare store shelves. Here we go.
Ontario and out west have halted shipments of certain items, particularly dry goods. CTV's Heidi Petracek on what might be missing from your grocery cart.
Empty shelves spotted at several Halifax retailers, a sign of what can happen when the country's rail lines grind to a halt. With product unable to reach the Maritimes by train, retailers are doing what they can to get shoppers what they need.
Yes, you will see stores where there may be a little less product in certain areas.
The group representing retail.
And so, I mean, this has real impact. This report goes into basically they're trying to truck it across the Maritimes and it costs more, right? Like the amount that's on one ship takes 3 trucks to ship and the logistics make everything more expensive. So, I mean, that's the downside, right? And there are real downsides here. Here is I was alluding to them celebrating. Here's Anthony Furey tweeting, a leading American climate activist is chalking this up as a win accomplished by their organizing. Wait, says Bill McKinnon. News breaking that campaigners have seemingly won a signal victory against a giant proposed tar sands mine. The company says that investors worried about climate make it impossible to proceed. What great organizing. Hashtag reject tech. Stop the money pipeline. The Globe and Mail. And here's what they're talking about. The Teck Resources pulled their application for the big pipeline or for the big oil sands mine, and the decision was supposed to come next week. And because of the protest, because of the inaction of the government, they said, "Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that even after spending $1 billion, I don't think this is worth pursuing there because we're probably not going to get anything done." Here's the Globe and Mail, and they say Teck Resources pulling application for Frontier Oil Sands mine. Teck Resources Limited is pulling its application for the massive Frontier Oil Sands mine in Alberta, citing the need for Canada to finalize its climate change policies and determine how resources development fits within them. After years of companies shelving investment in the oil and gas sector, high hopes were pinned on the massive heavy oil mine for its potential direct economic impact, as well as the broader signal it would send to the market. But the mine also landed at the center of a heated debate both in Canada and internationally about the balance this country is striking between resource development and addressing climate change. The project has already passed a lengthy regulatory review, and the federal cabinet was expected to decide whether to approve, reject, or delay a decision on the mine on Tuesday. The move sparked disappointment and condemnation from the Ottawa government and the Conservative opposition in Ottawa. An oil sector analyst said this decision would send a negative signal to investors that had echoes of Kinder Morgan's decision to walk away from its construction of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. And there's more to this story. We're gonna look at Jason Kenney and Andrew Scheer, leader of the Conservatives, both provincially and federally, for them to weigh in. I think that it's interesting, and I think that this is bad news for Canada. And well, Trudeau gets to not kill the pipeline, but his inaction killed the pipeline, right? Here's Jason Kenney. He says the withdrawal of Teck's Frontier mine application is more devastating news for the Canadian economy, especially for Albertans and Indigenous people. The decision is clearly the result of federal regulatory uncertainty and the current lawless opposition to resource development. And I would agree with him completely. He says, quote, today's announcement by Teck to withdraw its application for approval of the Frontier project, only days before the federal cabinet was set to decide whether to approve or reject it, is a grave disappointment to Albertans. Alberta has lost the opportunity for 7,000 jobs, and Canada has lost the opportunity for $70 billion. $70 billion in new tax and royalty revenue that could have funded our generous social services over the next 4 decades. The project would also have produced oil cleaner than half the barrels in North America. Tech's decision is disappointing, but in light of the events of the last few weeks, it is not surprising. It is what happens when governments lack the courage to defend the interests of Canadians in the face of a militant minority. The timing of the decision is not a coincidence. This was an economically viable project, as the company confirmed this week, for which the company was advocating earlier this week, so something clearly changed very recently. The timing of the decision is not a coincidence. Tech's allusion to, quote, public safety concerns make that clear. This was an economically viable project, as the company confirmed as recently as this week, so something clearly changed very recently. The project would also have shrunk the emissions intensity of oil sands production, with oil cleaner than the average barrel of North American oil. Weeks of federal indecision on the regulatory approval process and inaction in the face of illegal blockades have created more uncertainty for investors looking at Canada. Tech's predicament shows that even when a company spends more than $1 billion over a decade to satisfy every regulatory requirement, a regulatory process that values politics over evidence, and the erosion of the rule of law will be fatal to investor confidence. There's more. I'm not going to read it here. We're going to move on to Mr. Scheer's remarks. He says, "This is a devastating news for Alberta and our entire country. Political unrest has killed 7,000 jobs. Justin Trudeau's inaction has emboldened radical activists, and public safety concerns are now shutting down national building energy projects. Trudeau will do what he always does, blame everyone other than himself. This project has been sitting on his desk since last July. Moving the goalposts and death by delay is a tactic that Trudeau and his extreme anti-energy allies have been using for years. The people of Alberta have suffered so much. All they want is for this Liberal government to stop killing projects that allow them to do what they do best. Today, my thoughts are with all those who were looking for this project to restore hope and opportunity." And if you have a trip around Twitter, then you'll know that this was a popular project and people are not happy about this being, not able to move forward. And I have another video coming up, but I'm not going to put it with this video. This video, I'll just stick on Canadian politics. The next video is about WHO. We'll see you very shortly. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out CanadaPoly.com and CanadaReport.co, and have a wonderful, wonderful